You and Your Young Child, a program of information and services available for you and your child from prenatal to age 5. You and Your Young Child has been brought to you in part by Minor Family Dentistry and by the Sternberg Museum of Natural History. Minor Family Dentistry would like to bring you the following dental health tip. It's recommended to have a dental checkup no later than your child's first birthday. An adult should brush for a young child and monitor older children's brushing to ensure a good job is done. Flossing should start when teeth are touching. Minor Family Dentistry wishes you good dental health. Families, including children of all ages, are welcome. Minor Family Dentistry, 1010 Downing and Hayes. Find them in the Next Tech directory.
It's 40 feet long. It's a cold-blooded killer. And it's prowling the galleries of Sternberg Museum. It's Super Croc, 10 tons of terror that you've got to see to believe. Sternberg Museum and Project Exploration bring you a creature so big, it was a dinosaur's worst nightmare. Don't miss your chance to see the science of Super Croc, only at the Sternberg Museum, Hayes, Kansas.
Hello, and welcome to You and Your Young Child, the program devoted to early childhood. My name is Dana Stanton, and I'm the coordinator of the West Central Kansas Smart Start Grant. And with me today is Karen Schueler. Welcome, Karen.
Hello, good morning.
Now, this isn't the first time you've been on with us before. We talked about parent education classes, and we're going to expand upon that today. Is that right?
Right, we're going to talk about one topic in specifically step families.
Okay. One of the things I guess we should let everybody know, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I have a private practice here in Hayes along with Teresa Clark. Her and I deal quite a bit with parents and children. And today I'm also representing PACT, Parents and Children Together, and that's an organization that provides funding to provide parenting classes for here in Hayes in this area.
Okay. Now, you talked about PACT and the different parenting classes. Could you give us some of the titles of some of the parenting classes?
Step Families, Stepping Stones for Step Families is one of those, but we do several different classes on teenagers, understanding adolescence.
That would be a long class.
Well, that's why there's several of those. Effective discipline, because positive discipline, effective discipline is sometimes a tough thing for some parents. We have a class called Being the Best Father You Can Be, which is geared toward both toward single fathers particularly, but fathers of any kind. So just child development. We do a class on helping your children adjust to divorce. So pretty well try to cover as many topics as we can.
And those are free, right?
Yes, those are funded through PACT, and they receive their funding through the United Way of Ellis County.
Awesome. Now, specifically, we were going to talk about a class for step families. Could you tell us a little bit about that class?
Yeah. And that step families is a topic I've dealt with for several years. I'm also an instructor with the sociology department at Fort Hayes, and I instruct a class called Step Families. Been doing that for several years. You know, step families is we have more step families in the United States now, according to the data, than we do what would be called intact families. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It just shows that our society is changing and that we have a lot of different kind of families. And sometimes people marry into a step family situation, and it gets to be a little stressful. In fact, the divorce rate in remarriages is 60%. So over half of the people who get married again, and especially when it's a step-family situation, over half of them get divorced. And part of the reason for that is they don't understand that a step-family does have some unique features and characteristics, and they don't talk about that stuff.
Now, are there different, I don't know, stages that maybe a step family would go through?
Oh, yeah. Depending upon what you read, they're called different names. But for instance, the fantasy stage is the beginning. Everybody is in love and looking for, you know, life to be perfect and everything is going to work out
The Brady
great.
Bunch.
Exactly. And we sort of have a misconception about families because of shows like The Brady Bunch, where, you know, everything goes rather smoothly. So that fantasy time can be, you know, a few months or so, and then reality sets in. So the next stage would be more the reality stage or the conflict stage. Like I said, there's different descriptions of it, and that's when the family goes, uh-oh, you know, we have some issues to deal with, and we have some problems, and we have some things that we don't quite agree on, and some things we need to be talking about. And then once they work through that, then they get into the final stage, which would be more of a commitment stage. And that's when the family has worked through all these issues and they're functioning pretty good. They're comfortable as a family and as a step family. What some people don't realize is that sometimes it can take from 4 to 6 to 8 years to work through all those stages. And people hear me say that sometimes and they go, oh my goodness, 8 years before our family is doing well. I really encourage anybody who is marrying into a step-family situation to at least do some reading and learn about it, but do some family counseling too and help to iron out some of those tough areas.
Now, I wonder, are there any myths or misconceptions that would come when you talk about a step family?
There's quite a few. One that comes to mind right away is the myth of the mean old stepmother. And that's another thing that's been perpetuated by
Cinderella.
Exactly.
Snow White.
And all that. But what's kind of neat, and of course I'm the older generation, and that's what I grew up with, but the movie Stepmom that was out a few years ago actually portrayed the stepmothers in a more positive aspect. So again, our society is realizing that we need to get away from that mean old wicked witch kind of deal. And in truth, stepmothers have a big load. They come into the job thinking that they have to be, loving and caring, and they have to be the person that makes this family work. And they really have a lot of pressure on them. Another myth is the myth of instant love. We have two people, a couple who have met and fallen in love and decide to get married, and sometimes they think that everybody in the family is going to feel that way, or that the kids are automatically going to love the stepfather or the stepmother, or that the step-parents are going to automatically love the kids, and that's not so. And that's not a bad thing, but we just need to realize that that's unrealistic. There's a different kind of bond with a parent who has raised a child and been the parent for several years as compared to a parent that comes into the situation brand new. And some step parents have never even had children, so they don't even understand the issues going on. It is interesting to me that I have students in my class that kind of argue that myth, because I've had several say, well, if my fiance doesn't love my children, then I don't want to get married. And I also always have to give them a little discussion about that.
Yes. Now, if someone would want to, like you were getting ready to get married and you were going to have a step family, we talked about the class. When is that class? Is it something that happens on a regular basis, or could someone contact you about that?
Right. Those are regularly scheduled through the year, and unfortunately I don't have my calendar with me at the moment, but if you call KS Counseling Services, contact me.
We'll put that number on the screen.
Okay, and I'll be glad to share that with you. We have some classes coming up on that, but I can also do some individual work with families.
Wonderful. Karen, thank you so much for being with us. And thank you. You've been watching You and Your Young Child, the program devoted to early childhood. Parents, remember, either parents or step-parents, remember, you are your child's first and best teacher. Thank you.
Thanks for watching You and Your Young Child, a program of information and services available for you and your child from prenatal to age 5. You can watch the program weekdays in the noon and 9 o'clock hours. You and Your Young Child has been brought to you in part by Minor Family Dentistry and by the Sternberg Museum of Natural History.